Please stand and join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The first item of business tonight will be the approval of the consent agenda. That was in your packets. It includes the assessment program review for Ms. Jacoby, critical shortage information about our employees, financials, the MTSS curriculum CSIP item review, the professional development plan review for Ms. Jacoby, the Marshall Policy Compliance Review, the Missouri State Highway Patrol RAP back programs, the Missouri State Highway Patrol User Agreement for Criminal History. Those are both things that we do to run for teachers' background checks, our OPA reports for August, and the OPA report for September.
Motion approved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Does anybody have any discussion on that?
Call a question.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstaining or recusing? Next item is for the approval of the financials. September bills totaling $2,295,190.33, and the other financial reports that we reviewed.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion or comments regarding the financials?
Call a question.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or recusing? Next, moving down, the September minutes from September 10th, I believe was the date.
27.
September 10th.
I need a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Does anyone have any amendments or corrections?
Call a question.
All those in favor, please state aye.
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 Any opposed? Next, we're going to adopt the agenda for the remainder of the meeting as published.
So moved.
There will be one change. Ms. Moppin was not able to be here, but Ms. Carrie Harvey is going to speak on her behalf tonight, just to let you all know.
Okay. Call a question.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we're down to public comments. The board did receive one public comment tonight from Mr. Matt Rayner, I believe, to speak to you a little bit about information regarding the public library and Proposition L, which you have probably heard a little bit about within our community.
Yeah. Get my timer started here. Thank you, esteemed board, for having me tonight, and for superintendent and director superintendent or assistant superintendent. Thank you so much for having me here. I am the director of the Marshall Public Library. So as you all know, you may have seen some signs around town. We have a proposition on the ballot coming up here in November. So I usually give this as about 10 or 15 minutes. I'll try to cut it down to 5. So what I want to show you today is just some, run through some facts and show you some new pictures of the new library. So last year, the library served 20,000 in-person library visits, and we also checked out 26,000 books and materials. That's a lot of books to check out, especially if you figure a book costs anywhere between $15 and $28. So that's about $300,000 to $500,000 worth of books. We have about 30,000 books in our library, and we're part of the Missouri Evergreen Consortium, which has access to over 4 million books statewide. So we're a 46-member library, so anybody can get a book, and we have a courier service twice a week that can deliver those books to you. So if you don't have a library card, please come in and get one. I should note, we serve the city of Marshall, but however, we also serve the Marshall Public School District. So any teacher if they live outside the city limits of Marshall, can get a card for free, and also students can as well. So that is a benefit to our students, and that's something the board decided some years ago. So please come in and get your card, and you have access to 4 million books. So some of you may remember before the Marshall Public Library, everyone had to go to Mural Library, which is a great library, but it is an academic library. So in 1990, some folks got together and they got a levy passed for the Marshall Public Library. At that time, it was 20 cents. With the Hancock Amendment, it's been rolled back to 15 cents, actually 0.1518. And ever since then, so for 34 years, we've been in the basement of City Hall, which has been a great place for us to be, but we're kind of expanded beyond the walls right now. We're at capacity, and we don't have things like comfortable seating. Our meeting room is in the back. It's in a basement. There's no windows. So it just isn't meeting our needs. And we also, through time, have had to cut back hours and cut back services that we'd like to bring to the citizens of Marshall again. So then versus now, some quick things. I like to point out a Super Bowl ticket in 1990 was $125. Today it's $8,900. And a first class stamp has gone from 25 cents to 73 cents. So as you can see, the price of things have gone up. Now our budgets remained kind of consistent with inflation, but as everything has gone up, we've been able to do less and less with the money we get. So what is Proposition L? We're one of 9 counties in the state that can offer a sales tax. Wiki Slight was a former director at Marshall Public Library, and she got this passed through the legislature in like 2012. So we can ask for a sales tax. Some other cities that have it are Poplar Bluff, and then Cedar County also asks for a sales tax. So the law allows us to ask for a half-cent sales tax in the city of Marshall. We're going to ask for a quarter cent. And that's going to sunset in 2039. What that's going to allow us to do is renovate a brand new, well, it's an existing building, but once we get done with it, it should be a brand new building. There will be all new HVAC, all new plumbing, all new electrical. So by insurance standards, a brand new building. And it's also going to be filled with light. That's one thing we don't have right now is natural light. It very much feels like a basement with pipes overhead. So it's going to be what I like to call a beautiful 21st century library where people are going to see the lights on at night and want to come on in. So this is the ballot language you'll see in November, and I'll just read it real quick. For the purpose of renovating and replacing aging library facilities, enhancing spaces and programming for children and adults, expanding services and collections to serve public demand, and for the general operation of the library, shall a 1/4 of 1 cent sales tax be levied on all retail sales within the district for the purpose of providing funding for the City of Marshall Municipal Public Library District for 15 years through 2039. Now, what that equates to, am I already down to 20 seconds? No, okay, time goes fast maybe. But what that equates to is this, so if you go to Casey's and you buy a large coffee, there'll be less than a penny. And if you spend $100 at Walmart, there'll be about a quarter. So it is an ask, but we think that small investment in the community will yield great dividends for us and the library and the citizens of Marshall and beyond. So a yes vote means that we will have a newly renovated library, we'll increase our opportunities through expanded services, we'll expand access to materials, and we'll add additional professional staff. Right now we have 2 full-time staff members and about 7 part-time staff members. We'd like to add a full-time children's librarian because we do a really great program in the summer reading program, where we enroll kids to read throughout the summer. So when they leave school in May and they come back in August, they haven't, they're going to pick up where they left off. They're not going to be spending the summer, on YouTube or what have you. They can really just read through the summer. And so I'd like to invite, all the teachers in the district to encourage their students to go to that. We do a lot of great programming. We brought in a children's author. We brought in a musician and an artist and just had a really great time reading this summer. So we want to improve literacy. So I know my time is short. I'm going to show you a few pretty pictures. So this is the building as it stands at 102 East Morgan. And we thought about what makes Marshall Marshall. We thought agriculture makes Marshall Marshall. So we're really going to lean into that idea that Marshall is agriculture, so we chose a lot of things that kind of go along with that theme, like a lot of greens and yellows, and the way we think about the design of the building has to do with agriculture. So this is the rendering from SAP Architects. They've done a lot of buildings in Kansas City, a lot of libraries for like the Mid-Continent Public Library. But as you can see, there's a lot of windows. We're going to beautify that corner. We're going to add these bump outs along that. So this is just south of the square. It's within walking distance to the square. And it's really going to transform that building. A lot of people remember as the A&P building. On the backside, we'll have a mural and also a walk-up window with a nice green space. And then this is the top view where you see those bump outs on the corner. So I'd like to think that as a way to sort of beautify that corner. And all this is available on our website if you'd like to take a closer look at the floor plan and things like that. But basically, what we're going to add is a nice big meeting room that anyone can use. And then we're going to add 3 smaller rooms that will be study rooms. So students from Beaker can come over after school and study. They can grab a snack. We're going to partner with the senior center. There's going to be a lot more activity in the library. There'll be comfortable places to read. And then some interior views. And I'd like to point out there'll be live trees in the space and also skylights. That's the children's space. And then comfortable places to sit. So that's my presentation. And if you have any questions, you can always email me or call me at the library or go on our website, PropL. Does anyone have any questions right now? All right, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to ask if there's any other public comments as well for the evening. I know that, looking at the audience, I know most everyone is here for the business presentation, but I'll wait a moment. And Mrs. Harvey, if you want to make your way towards the podium, seeing no one else. I'd like to thank you for being able to stand in for Ms. Moffin this evening as she had some other business she needed to attend to.
All right, I'm Carrie Harvey. I'm the instructional coach for 3rd through 5th grade. I travel between Benton, Eastwood, and Northwest. This is my 3rd year as the instructional coach. So I'm going to highlight kind of what I do at Benton, but I also do that at the other buildings as well.
Use the microphone.
Use the microphone.
Put it down, sorry. Okay. So I get to start off my year with one of my favorite activities, and I think it's several people's favorite activity. That's the induction. This is where Laura, all the other instructional coaches, and I get to plan and meet all of our new staff coming into the district, our new owls. We offer a lot of professional development during that time. We work really hard to make that a fun and exciting time, while also going over all of our Marshall Public Schools expectations, any initiatives we have, and building relationships with the new staff that we have coming in. So one of the all-time favorite activities during induction, and most of the staff that have came in the last several years will tell you this, is the goose chase. And I think it's kind of changed name sometimes, or over the years. This is a scavenger hunt where they travel, they work in teams, and they travel around the Marshall community to kind of get familiar with everything here. They also visit some of our Marshall Public Schools facilities, and they compete to see who can go to every place the fastest. And it's a pretty big competition. Whoever wins gets to come back and be first in line for lunch, so it's a big deal. So another thing, not only do we try to have fun and we try to learn a lot, this also covers a lot of our professional learning strategies that we need to provide to our staff. Okay. So when I meet my new teachers, or the new teachers I work with, any teacher I work with, I tell them that I'm the influencer, not the evaluator. When I go into their classroom, I'm not the administrator, I'm not critiquing, evaluating what they are doing. So I get to help incorporate any new initiatives that we are doing in the district, if we have added any new resources, and navigate any of those changes that come with adding some of those things. I love being able to pop into classrooms, to observe all the teaching and all the learning that gets to happen. I offer feedback to the teachers, and then that often leads to follow-up conversations, and I get to build that relationship with those teachers. Okay, so I think this was, when I first became an instructional coach, I did some summer training. So they said this is kind of the process that we go through as instructional coaches. And I definitely agree. It's a great analogy. So to describe the first month-ish, sometimes longer, of school, I would say that I'm the pizza delivery driver. I try to be there as much as possible to help with anything that teachers need or whatever just pops up. I can help them find materials, help with scheduling, help explain resources, help them find the resources, and then troubleshoot anything else that happens. So here's my song. If you got a problem, you'll all solve it. So I try to do that. We work as a team to do that. So throughout the year, that looks a little bit differently. I start going into coaching cycles with my first and second year teachers. So those entail weekly meetings. We lesson plan together. I'll do some model lessons, and I try to get them into other classrooms so they can observe their peers. And then a lot more goes with that too. So after I've worked with our first and second year teachers, then I will bring in some of our other teachers or anyone that wants me to come in and help with their lesson planning. I also am able to help with professional development, our team meetings, and our grade level planning. So I provide some of the professional development on PD days and often during our team meetings. We try to have team meetings weekly, sometimes bi-weekly, depends on if we have a PD day or not. And I help assist and plan with the administrators. So we may talk about conferences, they're coming up pretty soon. We talk about building level items, data, the resources, assessments. We talk about our problem-solving team, our students on there, and anything else that comes up. Something new that we've started doing is grade level planning meetings. This has really helped build consistency between different classrooms and the different grade levels at two different buildings. It's great collaboration, and it helps us build relationships with one another. So all of the instructional coaches act as our first and second year teachers' mentors. We hold quarterly after-school meetings. At this time, we review all the teaching standards, and we also try to send teachers off with effective strategies and resources that they can bring back to their classroom right away. Okay, my last slide. So a few other things that I do throughout the year. I always try to be available. So I send out my schedule weekly, and on the schedule, teachers can sign up for any time they would like me to come in, or if they have questions for me. So I just try to be available. Something that has taken up a lot of my time the last 2 years is reading success plans. I help create a benchmark and progress monitoring schedule that we follow to help keep everything in order. And I'm very thankful that we have a 3rd and 4th grade title teacher this year. I also assist her and help her with looking at the data and seeing those students who qualify. And then I work with our 5th grade teachers, helping them determine who qualifies and complete all the needed paperwork for that. Something else new again this year, I worked really closely with Lori Peel, and we have created a science, social studies, STEM rotation. We're trying to incorporate as much PLTW, which is Project Lead the Way, and other hands-on STEM into our learning. It also helps reduce the amount of preps that teachers have to do. They prep for one unit, and they get to teach that unit to all the different grade level classrooms in the building. I also help with curriculum. I help assist in aligning resources with DESE standards. This summer we revamped our ELA curriculum at 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade level, and we also worked with 5th grade social studies, and that was phenomenal. That went really well. And then I ensure that we are meeting those DESE expectations. And then I get to look at a lot of numbers, and I love looking at numbers. So the data collection, I help organize and present beginning of year, middle of year, end of year data dives with our diagnostic, our iReady, and our benchmark assessments. And then as we meet in groups over that information, we try to brainstorm what resources we have and what interventions can be put into place. And then one of the last things I get to do, well, I do more than this, but one that I'm highlighting is map data. I get to organize that as well. We had our first map data dive on Monday with 5th grade, and then we will organize and work on that on the 28th for 3rd and 4th. After we look at that, we try to come up with a plan of action and then go from there. So that is a really quick summary of some of the things I do as an instructional coach. Any questions?
That's a nice presentation.
No?
All right,
Thank you, Ms. Harvey.
you're welcome.
Hopefully you won't have to get as many miles next year because you'll be in one building.
I'm so thankful for that.
I know that Mrs. Moppin wanted to be here and brag on everything that you do, and really speaking for all the administrators, all of our instructional coaches are the best I've ever worked with at Marshall, so thanks for all that you all do.
Yes, Mrs. Moppin really wanted to highlight Carrie tonight, and she is crucial in all the other coaches and everything that we do here, and I can't say enough about them. They're very crucial in everything, so.
All our district initiatives and our CSIP stuff wouldn't be happening without them driving it, so appreciate them very much.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I'm going to shift a little bit here. I'm going to talk to you specifically tonight. We have a lot of items in our CSIP, from everything that, Mr. Pettit, Mr. Ranke have maybe already filled you in on. This specific one is just about kindergarten readiness, which is our CSIP goal 14. And I'm going to specifically talk to you about our KOF scores and what those are and what that means. Of course, later in the year, we will do a really large presentation. Of course, you probably remember that from last year. I think it was like an hour maybe, over our APR, which encompasses a lot of areas: college and career readiness, our MAP and our EOCs, to graduation rates, all sorts of things. But tonight is specifically on kindergarten readiness as it aligns with our CSIP goal number 14. So I'm going to speak just for a second about what that is and what that means. As you know, we are under MSIP 6 now. It's quite different than MSIP 5. So when MSIP 6 was released, districts in the state of Missouri have 3 approved tools that they can use for the kindergarten entry assessment. In a few slides, I will discuss the differences between that and a kindergarten screening. So these are the 3 approved tools. DESE actually recommends the kindergarten observation form, and that's the one that Marshall uses for our assessment tool for our kindergarten entry assessment. So before I go into the actual assessment and what the data says and speak specifically to that, I want to talk a little bit about screening, and then on the next slide I'm going to go into the differences between the two. This is our data for the last 3 years when MSIP 6 started. As you can see here, in 2022, we had 91 children screened. In 23, we had 105. And in 24, we had 115. So those numbers are going up, the kindergarten students that are coming in to us. And so the kindergarten screening happens in March. We actually had that out here this year. We've had that at Spainhauer Primary, prior to that. It worked really well having it out here. I don't know if you've seen those cute little pictures on Facebook with the kids signing their letters of intent. I'm blessed to work with a team here to help plan that. Audrey Ming, Kim Alberson, Gina Wise, one of our other instructional coaches. We work together, and it's a beautiful process, and the parents come in and it's their first kind of interaction with the district. They get a free book. We had some donations from a local bank to help us with that. And these are some of the assessed areas, everywhere from speech to vision, and then to the language, motor, and concepts. They get some materials to take with them for the summer that they can work on as their child is approaching kindergarten. So what is the difference between the screening and the kindergarten entry assessment? So as you can remember, CSIP goal 14 is about the kindergarten entry assessment, which is our KOF that we use. So a lot of acronyms tonight within that. So the screening I just spoke to, that happens in March. That's all children prior to entering kindergarten. They go through a formal process that informs families of their development and strengths and areas of need at that time. Now the kindergarten entry assessment is different. That is when the students get to us, they enroll, they get to us in kindergarten, and within the first few weeks before hardly any instruction happens for the kindergarten standards, they are assessed on what they're coming into kindergarten with. And that happens within the first few weeks. It addresses 5 domains, which I will get into shortly on what those are. It aligns with the early learning standards, and we share those results with families. They will get those, kindergarten students will get those at conferences here in a few weeks. Actually, time is going quickly. It's already October. And then, of course, those are to meet our MSIP 6 requirements, and it is an item on our APR. We did receive 100% of the points last year, and I foresee that happening again this year. So the kindergarten observation form, just a few things. We do have to train our teachers on that. They are retrained every year. So I am the point of contact for that. So I reach out to them and I get them their training in all of the areas. And then this testing window is from the assessment that you guys approved. It was a small portion of that. It was a large document, but that's just that one test that I snipped, but it shows you the window and the people responsible. And then we do report that to Desi for MOSIS for core data. And Ashley Christie gets that all submitted for us. She's amazing with all of our core data. And we have until October 15th to do that. So just some other items for what our community has to offer for preschool. I thought this was important to kind of put this together because, as you know, we do have our early childhood program here in Marshall, but our kiddos, we do get some kiddos that come to us to kindergarten that maybe weren't in our program. So I'm going to talk tonight specifically about what we do to address kindergarten readiness in our program here, and when I work with Mrs. Dillon and the teachers at early childhood. But we do have kiddos that come from other preschools as well, so I listed those on here so you could see we have several, St. Peter's, Bright Beginnings, Head Start. Of course, we do get some students that come from in-home preschool as well, so that gives us an idea of a community where we are for kindergarten readiness. And so I just wanted to go over that before we went over the numbers. So this is the kindergarten observation form. This is the areas that you will see on the assessment. It's everywhere from language and literacy to general knowledge, social and emotional development, their approaches to learning, and physical development. So you can see there's a lot of different areas that when they come into kindergarten that not only we, but the state of Missouri is looking for. And it really focuses on that whole child whenever we're looking at those. So we have our we finally have baseline data because this is a new assessment. So we have our baseline data and then we have last year's to compare. So these are our numbers. As you can see here, it starts over in the side. You can see in 2022, 2023, we had 54% physical development, and this last year's was 62%. Those numbers mean those were the deemed per the assessment, the students that were kindergarten ready in that area. So they came to us kindergarten ready in those areas. Overall, if you look here, it gets to approaches to learning, social and emotional development, general knowledge, language and literacy, and overall. So overall, between those 2 years, we did have an increase in 4% overall in our students coming to us kindergarten ready. I did look up the states. We're about 15% below the state average, which in overall, so something to know. I always like to look at state data. As a state, they're looking at about 55% that are kindergarten ready. So that is, again, those are the kiddos that are coming to us, day one. So that's important to look at because then if they're coming to us not kindergarten ready, then we're having to do a lot of things just to get them ready and then to learn the kindergarten, grade level standards. So those are some items to continue to look at. Specifically within this for our early childhood center here, within the Missouri early learning standards, we have incorporated their priority items. So the items that we see on that KOF And those are the items that they're collecting data on, and they're having those conversations. It's what their professional development plans are based around in those data conversations. And so that's something here that we do. And so we are working really hard on that. Ms. Dillon and her teachers do a great job with, all of those items. But again, this is not just our students here in the Early Childhood Center. This is all students that come to us, whether they went to our preschool or not. They're assessed at the beginning of the year. One more thing to note before I go on and kind of wrap up here is this is not as easy to look at the KOF scores as like our MAP data perhaps, because when we look at our MAP data, we can really follow same cohorts of kids. So I can look at their third grade math MAP data and look at their fourth grade and follow those cohorts and see where the growth is. It's important to note that for kindergarten, they take it one time. So you're looking at different cohorts of kids each year. So that's just something to know and be aware of in that regard. I will end on this. If there's anybody watching from home and maybe they've got a young child and they're, I remember my kiddos, they're growing up pretty quick, but I remember them being really itty bitty little, and what are some things they can do at home just to help get them kindergarten ready? These are just some items. Toilet training, obviously, we do see that, and that's something that they work on here at the Early Childhood Center, working on that at home. Self-help skills are big, just, using utensils, being able to dress themselves, buttons, things of that sort. Established routines and procedures are obviously very important. If we can get those established at home, then it helps whenever they transition into the classroom setting. Sleep habits, if you've got a kiddo that's overtired, that's hard, and sometimes we see that, academically can be tough for them when they come in. Simply reading books, just read books to your kiddos, rhyming, work on letter recognition, things of that sort. Counting objects, basic shapes, work on using a pencil at home, interacting with peers and adults. So easy things that parents and families can do at home to just help their kiddo get ready. So just to kind of wrap up, again, that was my report on the CSIP item number 14, which was the kindergarten observation form, and our kindergarten entry assessment, which is an item that does appear on our annual performance report. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Could you go back one slide?
This one?
Yeah. I'm looking at this and we're below the state numbers and we're really, really, really low on language and literacy.
Yeah, and if you look at the domains here on the language and literacy, that's where just getting books is so important at home. So if you look at answering questions about details, understanding the features of a book, telling a story, producing rhyming words, recognizing letters.
Yeah.
Those are easy things that can be done at home.
Well, is there any way we could address that pre-kindergarten?
Yes, so that's where I was talking. So we have our early childhood center here, and we address those things, but we also get kiddos that are coming from
Other school districts?
other
And-
preschools or maybe in home. And so that's where they're coming to us. And so that's why I thought, well, this might be important if community is listening to this tonight and can see that. Those are just some easy things at home that, especially if some students do come to us and they maybe weren't in a structured preschool setting, those are some items at home that they can work on.
Are we getting
Yeah.
a lot of them with English being their second language?
I don't know the
Would that be
percentages within
negatively
that. We could probably pull that data and get that to you if you'd like to know.
No,
Yeah.
it's just, I can see if we get off to a poor start or a student.
Yeah.
It definitely does carry over. I was thinking the same thing. If we're starting 15% behind a state average, then it's awful hard to catch up.
That's what scares me. Yeah.
Yeah. That's-
But then some of our scores, by the time we get the scores later on, they're coming in halfway decent. So
Yeah.
congratulations to our teachers somewhere again.
Is this our third year or second year with KOF?
This will be our third.
Third,
So these
so-
are, our baseline data started in the 2022-23 school year.
Yeah.
So,
I think it just shows that we need to put more resources into this area, preschool and kindergarten, which is going to be a topic of discussion as we get into spring hiring. It's going to be an area to look at.
And I-
Perhaps
Well,
expansion,
but
smaller
if you
class
look at the
sizes.
numbers, and then when we get the numbers later on, they're not quite as, well, I think the point I'm trying to make is it looks like we're doing a pretty darn good job of what we got to work with.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's an old coaching adage, if you got the horses, you're gonna win. But,
Yeah, and I know our parents as teachers last year really tried to help, and we'll talk to them about doing that again this year, and went and I had compiled essentially a list of the kindergarten observation form, the item, being able to count items to 20, for example, and took a lot of those skills that we're looking at and took them to several of our area preschools and some of our in-home daycares, and we'll probably ask them to do that again this year. Of course, and then what happens with that after we go, but we can provide that information to help them and so that they know. So
Keep up
anyway,
the good
we'll
work.
keep doing. Thank you. I appreciate your time tonight. I tried to be quick.
You did good. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you very much.
keep up your good work.
I definitely appreciate the tips, trying to get students ready for us once they actually hit the district as well. They have to be ready to be students, learners, and have some base skills, so thanks for those.
One thing that nobody's mentioned is probably in 2022 is when we had that whole upheaval in parents as teachers. And we got all new teachers, and some of them went, and I don't know what all happened there, but Grace got involved in that, and I think we've turned that around, and it's doing a lot better, but
Yeah, I agree. Yes, we do.
A month or two ago, we also had a presentation, Marion Gilpin from United Way spoke briefly about the Imagination Library. That's a way to get your kids 60 free books. They'll give you a book a month for the first 5 years of your child's life, and so that's another resource that's free and some books that you can have on hand to kind of go over with your child, so sign them up. And next, we're going to have Glenn Holloman, and he's coming to give us a construction report and an update on where we are at the new intermediate building, which also has some grass and ideas about the plains on it in our rural country.
Looking better every time you come in here.
Well, that's good to hear, thank you. Not that I do anything personal with it, but I'll definitely pass that on. So I thought, this is the picture that, we kind of shared the website camera that shows the activities that have taken place from beginning to end to where we are. And now this is about all you're going to see almost for a while with the current placement of the camera. So, I just thought I'd bring it in and share it. That's the right button is what I want.
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to be kind of short in some of the slides we do today. I wanted to spend a little time doing kind of an interior look. And I understand we've got an outing scheduled. So kind of give you a preview for what you're going to see during that outing. Actually, there should be a lot more done by the time you get in there, but these are some of the things that we've accomplished since the last time we met. We've been putting in the storm sewer. We've completed the precast panels. We've got the exterior framing in place with the sheeting and waterproofing. We've been pouring some remaining slabs inside. We had to wait until some of the certain things were done before we could complete slabs on the interior. The roofing has started. We've started installing the interior stairs. Interior framing has started, and we've also started with the rough end of fire suppression, electrical plumbing, and HVAC. And then these are some of the things that we've got to look forward to. We're going to continue putting in our ductwork, electrical conduits, and all of our rough end. We have some interior and exterior masonry that's coming up shortly. We have windows and glazing, exterior metal panels, drywall, and some of the interior finishes. So I'd put this together thinking that I would do a little break here and show you the thing I wanted to show you and then come back to this, but logistically it makes sense that we go through this. So really all I'm looking at is we've got this view is just to remind you of this 3D view, and that's what I'm going to share with you in a live version today. So I just kind of wanted to move on to the next step, which is showing you a live presentation of what is going on within the building shell that you can't see from the outside. So I need to come over there?
Yeah, you'll bring your laptop.
All right. So we'll work out how this goes. I wasn't sure how we were going to complete all of this. Okay, so this is an interior view. On the left-hand side, we have a camera that mounts on top of a hard hat. And we have somebody that walks around through the building and takes photographs. On the right-hand side is a rendering that's provided by, or a 3D rendering provided by our architectural firm. So if we look at this, I have the ability to take this, and these are all linked together. That view that we were looking at was looking down the stairs towards the entry of the building. So this kind of gives you a path of how we're going through this and where we're going to go. We can click on that and move through the building and see some of the things that that are being accomplished in here. So this gives you a view of this is basically the area for your lunchroom, and the new set of stairs that are going in here. So that's on the second floor. And if we go down to the, trying to see where I'm at. There we go. Turns too dark, I can't tell what it says when I'm there. So now we can go find a spot here on the main floor and see the walls that are being framed in there. You can see the, every once in a while, as we go through here, you'll see some electrical conduit, you'll see some ductwork. Just gives you an idea of some of the things that are being placed in the building. And on the right-hand side gives you an idea of what that will look like when it's finished. Now, one of the advantages of this is that as we put drywall on the walls, we're able to know what's behind that drywall by going back to this set of drawings. So we walk through this and catalog this to know where everything is in this building. So if there's a question of, did we put an outlet in this wall and it just got covered up by drywall? We have the answer here without having to start poking holes in the drywall.
Wow.
So, those are things that make sense to me, but it gives you an idea right now of how progress is going on the inside of the building, since all you can see right now is the outside. Any questions, thoughts, or comments? Anybody special, or any room that you want to see for sure, or specifically? Oh, you're too easy.
It's good.
All right, well then, thank you very much.
Hey, Glenn,
We
could
just
you
happy to
just
see it going up.
mention maybe on our schedule and budget, kind of where the district's standing right now in both of those areas?
Both of those are well within parameters and our schedule. I hate to say that it might be, let's put it this way. We are currently making our deadline, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, don't want to jinx yourself.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, I don't want to make
Yeah.
make it bad.
Yeah.
But we're doing well. Everything's moving along smoothly, and the budget, we've been able to forecast where things are at, and I think we've been pretty close on our forecast, and I see I'm actually seeing opportunities for potential savings that could be utilized on other projects or whatever for the.
We like that. We like that kind of report.
Keep knocking on wood.
Right now, we've identified some potential. Okay?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn.
That's why you don't want me back there with the wires.
It's all good.
Okay, I think I might know better.
Shut the computer down behind the stage.
Oh, because we shut the door or shut the.
Come on,
I
IT.
shut the lid and I didn't think it would shut off.
It's all going well. What's the matter with the IT here?
Thank you for your presentation as well, though, tonight, Glenn. Appreciate the follow-up. And we are scheduled to tour on the 15th, next Wednesday, as a board, so.
Are you gonna
And
be
then while we're waiting for the
leading
assistant
the tour?
superintendent to get to his report,
Will you be leading the tour the 15th?
not a chance.
You guys want to go a little faster than I do.
Well, see, I'm wondering too, because I'm probably gonna have to do it in a wheelchair. I was just wondering if I should or shouldn't try it.
We can definitely get you around on the main floor.
All right.
Stairs,
Nope,
yeah.
out of the question.
And I'm not sure what we're doing with the stairs anyway, because there won't be any safety rail, or there may not be any safety rail in at that time, but,
You won't have the elevator ready for me yet?
it works on the way down really well. Up is a little hard still right now.
All right, I'm gonna refocus this and bring us back to the assistant superintendent report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I think on our tour, we'll have plenty of time being in the evening, so, and there won't be a lot of people in our way at that time,
There won't
so.
be anybody in your way.
Perfect, all right. Tonight, I just wanted to hit on a few things, 4 things, just some different happenings. It seems like a lot's been going on, just behind the scenes on a lot of different things. It's definitely been busy at Marshall Public Schools, but just some things I wanted to update the board on tonight. First one, so we did have a flood at Beaker the first day of school. We had an HVAC unit that one of the new HVAC units from the chiller, one of the fittings broke. We actually were very lucky that when it started to leak, it was probably on a Sunday night, and I was glad that it didn't probably happen on Friday night, or else it would have been a lot more water. So the 2 of our classrooms did get wet. These are on the 2nd floor behind the stage, and then it did leak down into the cafeteria. But our maintenance crew and our custodian crew in the first day of school did an awesome job. They got that all cleaned up in the cafeteria. And then we went in and sucked the water out of a lot of the carpet and let it dry. And then they did some different mitigation. To be safe, we did move the teachers out of those classrooms. They went to the trailers, and then we ended up doing some air quality testing. We finally got the air quality testing back, and that all came negative. It's all good. So that was good news, that there was no mold or anything other than regular allergens in the air. So I do recommend that we go ahead and replace the carpet in there, but when we were testing everything and looking at everything, underneath that carpet, of course, is probably original Beaker tile, which is old asbestos tile, which as it lays, it's very safe. There's nothing wrong with it. But when you start ripping up the carpet and replacing carpet, there's a possibility that that tile could break when we're ripping it up. And when that asbestos tile breaks, that's when you start running into problems and some safety hazards. So before we replace that carpet, to be safe, I'm going to recommend that we abate those 2 rooms. And get the carpet out of there and get all the tile out of there. Now, we will not abate with students in the building because that's not safe, so it'd either have to happen over Christmas break or wait till the summer to do that. I have reached out to a couple companies on some different schedules and some different pricing, so we are working on that, and then when I get those pricings, I'll bring that back to the board for there. I think the abatement's probably going to be around $11,000, $12,000, but it's probably money well spent for the safety of that.
How long does it take, Dave?
I do not know that answer, so I think some different companies are going to give you different answers for that.
So I think you get it done over Christmas or?
Possibly, yes. I think it's more the getting them scheduled. A couple I've reached out to, people are booked, or and it's a busy time for a lot of the environmental companies. So we'll continue to work on it and keep you updated. The next thing I wanted to hit on is our 2023-24 health insurance loss ratio. This is actually from our old insurance company, United Healthcare. And the reason I want to hit on it is several employees received letters in the mail from United Healthcare. I believe I received one. I'm not actually sure I read it, but I did after somebody said, "Did you see this?" And I said, "Yeah." So we do, the federal government, I guess, they have caps on loss ratios. So if your premiums are up so high and then a lot of the money doesn't get spent actually for health care, they will mandate that insurance company to actually send the employer or whoever to receive a refund. So I want to be transparent with our refund. For the Marshall Public Schools, it was $6,004.47. With that, there's 344 eligible employees, so you divide that out at $17.45 a person. So I hate to tell anybody that was expecting a big windfall. We're not getting a big windfall. But I just want to be transparent that that's the letter in the mail that you got. We received $6,004. And then as we move forward, we'll figure out what to actually do with that refund. So if any employees have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to us or myself, and I can answer any questions. So also wanted to let the board know we have some pretty big RFPs coming out for proposals. So our big one is we are coming to the end of our 5-year contract for our Marshall Public Schools food service provider. We are currently working with OPA Foods. So Grace and myself will work on this and go through that bidding process again. And this is a lot of money. This is a big one for the district. So I wanted to let the board know we're coming to the end of that contract, and we're going to start the process near the end of this year. I think that DESE comes out with that RFP because there's pretty specific language that needs to be in that, and I think we're thinking maybe November-ish, December, sometime around there they'll come out with that, and then we'll resend it out. The other big one is our printing and copying services with all of our district copy machines and our print shop that we use. This is also a pretty big one for the district, a lot of money, a lot of employees rely on this. So we are currently with Rikio, and we've actually had several people come in touch or contact with us about different services. So we'll send out an RFP and then bring all those proposals back to the board and see what the best route for the district is. Does anybody have any questions on that?
What all is included in that printing and copying services? Is that like maintenance on all the machines and toner, and is that what that is?
It all comes through, yes. And there's so many copies the district gets.
For a price, sure.
Yeah, for a
Right.
price. And then anything over that, then we pay extra.
X number of cents
Per copy, yes.
copy.
And then we have so many colored sheets that we can print through the print shop also, and then we go over that, it costs extra money, so.
Just wanted to clarify what all was included in that.
Yep, yep.
Are both companies going to rebid, you think?
I believe they both will, yes. Any other questions on that? Okay, the only, my last thing, construction, I wanted to hit a little bit on it too. Glenn, I appreciate you coming tonight. I just wanted to tell the community and our employees and the board that construction is going well, knock on wood right now. This last week, I'll be honest, I've heard a few rumors. I wanted to dispel any of those rumors. Some of them were kind of wild, some of them were good. Napholtz is doing a fantastic job. Napholtz is financially strong. Construction's right on schedule, and it's still moving forward. So things are looking pretty good, but I just wanted to get that out there so people can hear it straight from the source. And if anything changes, we'll let you know.
We would definitely let you know.
Does anybody have any questions on that?
David,
Yes.
what about covering for the glass? Hey, did you get any RFPs back on that?
Yep, they're due. I think it was November 1st. We're starting to get some back, Jack, yes. And then we have October, when is it? This coming month, I think in the next week and a half, there's some different companies coming actually on site into the district to look. So that we got lined up. So yeah, that is moving forward.
Good.
Yep. Okay, does anybody have any questions on anything? All right. Thank you very much.
Can I have that clicker? I'm going to talk into this again.
Next, we'll have the superintendent report. From the chair, it sounds like again tonight.
I will tell you all as we approach an hour that you will not hurt my feelings if you need to go. Although my 25 slides are very interesting, I think. So really quickly, first recapping our recent surplus auction. We did something a little different here. We went with Gov Deals 100%. We've had a lot of surplus auctions in the last 2 years, and I would say that there's a lot of upfront work with which Ms. Durham was very helpful with getting a lot of that done, because you've got to type up descriptions and take pictures and all kinds of things. And when you have someone in a position like we have her helping us, that it was much more manageable, and it was extremely successful. I think the exact number was $28,382, I believe. So we've experimented, and I can say with pretty much great confidence, when we close these upcoming school buildings at the end of the year, it'll be a lot of upfront work again, but I believe we will use Gov Deals as the venue to sell it, since we'll have a lot of furniture liquidation there. Ladder investment, something that the board and I have spoke about a little bit. Just want to kind of say so publicly. I can't think of a appropriate metaphor, but I can think of a good one, which is there's more than one way to skin a cat. And I think I referenced in your board agenda for a motion $2 million. Truthfully, the point of this discussion tonight is that I want to do a ladder investment and explain what that is. But with our district's regular funds, each month our interest rate fluctuates a little bit. It's been extremely good for some time now, but as the feds are cutting their rates, we're seeing our monthly rates starting to go down. With MOCAT and our construction funds, we made the choice I think it was 2, maybe 3 months ago, we went ahead and locked some of that in to what seemed like a low interest rate at the time, but the projections with that investment is just about spot on where we locked it in 3 months ago to where it is today. So it's actually probably protecting us for the months ahead. I want to do similarly with our regular funds. We're currently this month, district funds are at 5.42%. That's come down nearly 1 whole percentage over the course of the last year, approximately 1 whole percentage point. So I think we might be prudent to think about locking some of those funds in as well, but we don't want to lock in too many because we've got this construction project to wrap up at the end. We want some of that liquid. So be it $2 or $3 million, I'm going to propose that we make an investment. I'll have the exact details after I work through things with our bank, and we will have that probably in consent agenda next month. If you all don't have any comments or objections tonight, it would be something like a ladder approach of 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months. The interest rate isn't going to fluctuate locally. That's unusual, but everything about this current economy is a little unusual in that longer investments aren't giving you more than short-term investments, but it gives us plenty liquid up front to conclude our construction project, and then it hopefully protects and preserves a decent interest rate long-term, and that might be the last time for some time that we get to benefit from a higher return on interest. So I'm proposing something in the ballpark of 18 to 24 months. You're going to have somewhere between $500,000 or so there for the longer term investment. It's just a little, you don't want to tie up too much and need it, is my thoughts.
I'm looking at these numbers, and if the 6 months and 24 months, if there's no variance.
There is no variance, none. So the only reason for it is some of it's we're gonna have a longer term return. The interest will be good for a longer amount of time, and some of it will be liquid again more quickly. I'd love to be a little more aggressive, but it's not our money, it's taxpayer money, so I feel like we see how that goes. And then that'll give us a certainty in how much interest we can at least get from that. If there's any surprises with some of these goals we have set with our long-range facility plan, it'll kind of give us a little nest egg for a rainy day. Sooner or later, there's going to be a rainy day, I hope, around Missouri. And we can say it's inevitable for our finances. Any questions or objections or thoughts on that?
I've noticed in the last, 2 or 3 weeks, the 10-year Treasury bills have increased between 50 and 75 basis points. They're up to about 4% now, which is quite a raise in that short a period of time. One thing that concerns me about the Fed's rate cut is if they cut it too fast and it fires up the economy, too rapidly, we could drop right back into a
Another inflationary situation.
inflation again.
Yes, and
So
they're saying,
They gotta move awful careful on that.
and yet they're pointing towards another cut by the end of the year, probably more realistically by the election, I would say, and then possibly another one after the first of the year. So I thought this might be a way to just say, we can't be guaranteed our high returns, but maybe we can have a little bit that we know it's locked up solid. And there's local investments, and there's two statewide investments that are approved for government entities. This is the best rate that we can get in these lengths of time, so. If there are no questions, we'll just jump all over the place like a pinball. We'll talk about summer school. And I won't read all this verbatim, but I will say in short, net revenue to the district, this last summer school program was $242,000, and our enrollment was 651 students who maintained a 92% attendance rate. So a lot of $100 gift cards going out to those students that still seemed effective. Most importantly, I think for it to be effective for the students is that 38 district staff also had some really positive surveys, some things that they said that we could improve upon after our first year. We made some changes. More specifically, Ms. Jacoby did a lot of things to make some changes and did them well. And we saw a higher approval rating with that. So we will have that same program one more year, and then we'll need to decide if we want to continue with it or not. But I believe it's been effective, and working it through the high school location because of construction's worked out well also. Just in other news, so to speak, board workshop, we have that scheduled for the Board of Education to have a workshop. So not necessarily a public board meeting, but a board meeting where you all come together and we'll have something to eat. We'll work on some things like our CSIP required board self-evaluations. Our superintendent evaluation can get started. Our PD admin plan can be rediscussed, which is part of our CSIP, and then the CSIP itself being revisited. Dr. Henson with EdGov Lead was in district for the PD day on yesterday and began touring buildings and interviewing and getting feels for things from our staff. And he'll be back in district again for the admin. And so we'll be able to start talking about what things are shaping up for the new CSIP plan to come as we kind of wrap up the current one. Something to maybe put on your calendars. And I believe this is my last or next to last item. Benton Elementary and Northwest 5th grade center, as it is currently, would like to tentatively put this on people's calendars and get it out to the public January 15th and 16th. We would like to have a community forum at those two school buildings like we did for Southeast Elementary School, inviting the community and the people who live around those schools to come in, tour the building, ask questions, share their wishes for what happens to the buildings. We'll do those at 6 p.m. at each location. It'll last about an hour. And in February, I will report back to the board what we heard from our community and make some proposals on what we do with the buildings. Any questions about that? One last thing would be that tonight in closed session, thinking about our new school going to be opening up in the fall, we'll have some administrative moves. There's principals and buildings that won't be open next year. We're going to go to the board and discuss some of that movement, make that public knowledge effective tomorrow. And next month, we hope that that'll lead well into that the staff pretty much knows probably where they're going to be going as far as their buildings closing, what grades going where. But we want to make it official through board actions so that we're able to, people just need to, I think it's good to go into the holidays without that uncertainty. And so we're trying to be as quick and as transparent as possible. The only moves that I think won't be public will be the ones that we don't know yet. There's a few variables, but by and large, there's no reason to hold back on getting this information out. So that is underway. If there are no questions there, that'll all be out in the open very soon. And that is my report.
I believe the date for our work session is the 29th of October.
Oh, did I say the wrong date? I'm sorry.
For those that had it on their calendar. So the 27th happens to be a Sunday, and
Let's not do that.
I was like, they moved to a Sunday night.
October 29th.
October 29th is what I have it on my calendar for, and so did
And mine says
Mrs. Green.
5:30 too.
And I've got 5:30 to 9 on mine as well. So
Is 5:30 work for everybody? Is that not too soon, 5:30? That's
For
better.
me.
it's 5:30 on a Tuesday, Matt.
That'll be all right.
Okay.
All right, yeah, thanks for getting that. I apologize.
No problem. Moving along to old business. Thanks, sir. We will look at our MSBA policy updates. Those were pretty straightforward, and there were some notes in there as well from Mr. Pettit in there kind of outlining some things, and we've had these on our radar for the last couple of months. So, and then I'm going to split that with the dozer as far as a motion and have that be two separate motions and discussions that we have this evening. So if anyone would like to move on the MSBA policy updates, Appendix A, which was in your packet, I'm opening the floor for that.
We accept.
Yeah, I second.
It's been moved by Mr. Shepherd and seconded by Mrs. Green. Is there any discussion or conversation about this? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? The next item is the bulldozer purchase discussion that we've had. There's been some varying opinions from many of us on the board. Mr. Pettit and I have talked about it. I know he's reached out to some of the board members, and some have reached out to him to discuss it. So I will leave that framed and sitting there right now.
I'll say, as many of us have discussed in various ways, we had talked about the value potentially in buying that bulldozer. I had presented to you guys some alternatives, which would be the value and perhaps not, and having someone else instead provide that service and come back to you in November with three or four proposals to do that work. I genuinely leave this to the board to decide. I think that I genuinely would leave this question up to you all to decide. We built this agenda with a motion to purchase it, but there's been a lot of really good discussion. I think it seems probably a majority of you have agreed, and I don't disagree. I've really been torn over the decision that there's a lot of reassurance in having someone with their own insurance, their own equipment, doing the work for us. And what might seem like it costs more probably is more certain in what it will cost than the unknown of the bulldozer. So if there were no motion, it would be okay. We'll just come back to you with quotes for someone else doing the work. We've got some unofficial quotes, and we know that the price is better than we thought.
So on that conversation, I would make a motion that we do not purchase a bulldozer at this time within the district.
I second that. Or I agree, I don't know at this
Say
point.
that.
I was making a motion that we do not purchase a
You
dozer at
don't
this
need a
time
motion.
within the district, and that we wait and come back with some bids and look at some items that maybe we have this excavation work done by a third party, which limits the liability to the district by having our personnel, and the unknowns of having a large piece of equipment there that we're going to also have cost of, and then we may not have a long-term use for, and having to try to put it back out on the market and get rid of it at some time in the future, so.
Point of order. I don't believe you need to make that motion. If we
It
don't-
is not true, that is true, we do not need to make a motion, but I made one anyways. And it was supported, so therefore we will vote.
Is that,
But-
do
but
I
that's
second that, or do I
parliamentary,
support the
I would
motion?
strongly
I don't know.
Second that, yeah.
But that is true, that there need to be no motion, there could be no motion, and we didn't have to do
And
anything.
then there's no action.
And then it would just die as no action, so.
Okay.
Since
Then
there
we'll
is a
touch
motion
it
on the
every
floor, though, we will vote, and so all those in favor of not purchasing a dozer at this time, please say aye.
You pushed it through anyway.
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? All right. So we will not get a dozer tonight. All right. Under new business, I'm going to make sure that we remove probably item E as well. That is about some real estate, and that is pursuant to items that we've already checked to speak about in closed session tonight. And because that is a property purchase, then there's some details that we want to discuss as a board in closed and information to give. So we're going to be looking at, under new business, A through D, which would be a motion to ratify our surplus auction, which Mr. Pettit gave you amount of $28,382, plus or minus how the books come in on that. A motion for the FY25 budget amendment, which was Appendix C for you, and that is to realize the actual expenditures through October for us in expenses. The total expenses out of our three funds that we use, 1, 2, and 4, will be $35,990,996.36. And our revenues through that point have been $36,026,404.75. And so that would be actualizing our budget back to where we were. A motion to invest funds into CDs, as kind of was outlined. That will be a figure that he's going to bring back to us for final approval next month after working with our accountants and the team, somewhere between $2 and $3 million into some long-term securities. And then D, a motion to transfer the funds from Fund 2 to Fund 1, which goes back into our 2023, 2024, or FY24 fiscal year. And this is a motion due to the insurance refund that we received, and that it actually has to be actualized back into last year's fiscal budget because that's when it was tracked back to.
Are we lumping all these together in one motion?
Yes, sir.
So moved.
Second.
Did you board that A through D?
What's that?
A through D, yes, sir.
Yeah. Call question.
It's been moved and seconded. Does anybody have any questions or anything about those figures? They were all within our packets and for review. Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any abstaining or recusing? Next, I will be motioning for us to move toward, or asking for a motion to move towards closed session where we'll talk about legal action, causes of action or litigations, lease purchase or sale of real estate, hiring, firing, disciplining, or promoting of particular employees, sealed bids and related documents until bids are opening, and identifiably our individual personnel records.
Yep, second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Carroll?
Aye.
Mr. Lynn?
Aye.
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 And aye. Thank you. Adjourned from open session.